So I've been doing AI-only battles in Civ 5 for over a few years now, and I've always said that the European maps are always the best because nobody is safe. Well, actually, I should maybe include one exception. Iceland should be relatively safe on their island, but I wanted to include them anyways because I am playing with the 60+ Civ mod. Now, I don't think we have 60+ Civs in this game. I think we only have about 54, and that's because not every modded Civ on the Steam Workshop is compatible with this map mod that I'm using, and of course the other reason being not every modded Civ starts off in Europe, the Middle East, or Africa. So I've done this is my 4th edition of the European style AI only battles, and if you've watched the first one, this might be a familiar face, Florence. Except the first one included Florence as a city-state, and that's where the whole joke began. It was actually my first AI-only battle ever, where the city-state Florence ended up taking, I think, 3 different settlements, and there was just a joke, an ongoing joke throughout the channel, that Florence is the god, and we all must worship Florence. So of course my pick is going to have to be Florence, but if you want to make your pick, you can leave a comment in the section below, and if you pick right, I will include your name in the description of the last video of the series. If I didn't pick Florence though, I would have to say probably the British. The British are really good on this map, and the British mod in general usually tends to do pretty well. Whoever ends up kind of dominating the British Isles, I think, will be maybe among the top 3 civs that might end up taking the game. However, you know, again, when it comes to new faces, Normandy should be pretty exciting. Normandy, whether it be Normandy kind of controlling the English Channel, or Normandy kind of being that big rival that Napoleon needs here in Western Europe, I think this is going to be a very interesting civ to watch out for. Another new one is Flanders. Now, I had to move Flanders a little bit. Some of the civs I had to move a little bit because they all kind of start off next to each other. But Flanders will be starting off coastal, just north of the Dutch. Obviously, Belgium is also involved. So this will also give, I think, a little bit of trouble to whoever ends up blobbing out of the British Isles. And that could be the Celts. Let's not disregard the Celts here, right? I did start off on turn 5 just to kind of get the game going a little bit faster, and I'm actually going to go into my options and just kind of auto through this thing until at least the wars start. So I've got the AIs playing very aggressive. We have the aggressive AI mod on. I have domination only, as well as we're playing on immortal difficulty. So I think we should see our first war, more than likely. I wouldn't be surprised between turn 30 or 50. I think the fastest war we've seen pop up was about, I think, turn like 42 or something like that. But I think we're going to break that record today. I think we're going to see our first conflict open up before turn 42, but we'll see. Finland, I've got high hopes for Finland. Now, something to keep in mind, and spoiler alert, the best AI-only battle that I've ever done was the second series, the second season, I guess if you want to call it, of Europe, Civ 5 Europe. And that was where Byzantium won that campaign. And Byzantium started off in the middle of this huge mess. So I don't think it is necessarily 100% of the time a Civ from the outside of Europe always blobs out. They don't always win. And part of the reason is because there are no resources out here. I did that intentionally. There's not as many resources out in Eastern Europe, as well as there's not as many resources here in Africa. There's a huge Sahara Desert. The huge Sahara Desert is obviously going to give a lot of trouble to a lot of the civs out here. That's a little bit different in Europe. There's a lot more luxury resources, a lot more strategic resources. So, and obviously they need it because they're going to be having to play a little bit taller in the beginning, and then eventually probably widening out. So let's talk about some of the new civs that we've never played before with. Actually, I apologize. I didn't look up the pronunciation here, but this civ that controls Cairo right now should be big trouble for Ramses. Ramses of Egypt always does well, always, because he's by himself. I'm really excited to see how he's going to, you know, obviously compete with his eternal rival. I swear, Egypt and Arabia always hate each other, but he's going to have a whole nother competition, I guess, to the north. Besides that, for the civs that might be a little bit new, that maybe people we haven't played with before, we've got Prussia and Germany in this game. They're not new, but I've always kind of played with them, but they should kind of be in a pretty interesting battle. Obviously, the Italian Peninsula, which I already showed off, is going to be a huge mess. We've got the Papal States. We've got Tuscany of the capital, Florence. My pick, man. Look, he's already going out there with the settler. You got to be careful. And we've got Sardinia, Piedmont, Milan, and then Rome just a little bit further to the south. There will be definitely a race, I'm sure, for these kind of 3 islands, even though this is not an island in this game. I hate that. I wish I probably should have edited that a little bit, but this is Sicily. We've got Corsica and Sardinia. But yeah, there should be probably a pretty big race for these islands from the Italian civs. Maybe Sardinia, Piedmont. Spain has got up their first settler. It's turned 23. Okay, boom. So Russia already has their second city. St. Petersburg and as well as Finland has thrown down their second city. Hey, I got a golden age. Yay. Awesome. Flanders moving forward. We've got Bavaria with a settler. Looks like we're going to start up I think we're going to start and see our first war within this very first video. That's amazing. So the Sumer really growing a lot. And keep in mind, yeah, the Sumer are between is it the Euphrates and Tigris? I believe so. But yeah, lots and lots of food growth out here for the Sumer in the Middle East. There's always a big, big war between the Sumer, the Babylonians, and the Assyrians. Armenia should play a little bit of a bigger role, although they're pretty nicely hidden away behind their mountains. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. Greece, I think, has a really good opportunity of blobbing out. Greece ends up usually colonizing North Africa. And that's for a lot of these Southern Europeans, they've got a good opportunity. Whether, you start off in Southern Europe or kind of more Eastern Europe, like Poland, Hungary, Lithuania, Prussia, all of these civs can move out towards kind of modern-day Russian lands and start taking territory there. Again, another civ that I forgot to look up the pronunciation for, but this is a very famous modded civ in the Steam Workshop. I think they've always been, like, in the top most rated civs. I think they've, like, 5 stars, I mean. So I think they should do pretty well here in Kiev. Definitely providing a little bit more Prussia. I actually meant to say Russia. Pressure on Russia. But yeah, definitely more pressure on Russia. The Huns obviously being the big one that always kind of gives Catherine trouble. But, it's going to be interesting because not necessarily just because, one civ defeats the other, there might be a whole nother role to play, I guess, in Eastern Europe with this new modded civ, as well as, of course, Finland, who's going to expand out. Again, it's going to be tough for these civs out here because there's not as many luxuries. That's what's really going to slow down their growth. Boom, we've got the Goths settling their second city. Greece moving out, Byzantium already pressing forward. I do think that sometimes the coastal civs have a little bit more of an advantage on this map. It seems like coastal civs do a little bit better, which is kind of interesting because that's not always the case when we do the AI-only world battles. Which again, like I said, I've always said those games are honestly, they're more popular, but they're not as good as the European maps because everyone's going to war here. We've got the Great Library and Temple of Artemis built. Yeah, like I said, I mean, nobody's safe. Barcelona. Spain always loves to forward settle France, I swear. They always love that. Normandy moving down south, and it looks like France is going to be kind of SOL here. Kind of SOL, because they don't have a settler. I don't see any more spots open for them. I think Switzerland's going to settle just north of Bern. The Dutch are also going to be in a tough spot. Denmark kind of squeezing through Finland. I'm sorry, Norway. And again, I've been talking about using a new Norway mod. The problem is, well, first of all, this is the most successful this is automatically from the very beginning, the most successful we've ever seen at this Norwegian mod, because he's actually settled a second city. It's a miracle. But there's a problem. There aren't any Norway mods that work with this map pack. I mean, there might be, but it might be very hard to find, because the ones that I've searched for didn't work. So we need to kind of keep that in mind, and I'm hoping that Norway does pretty well here. It looks like they're automatically going to be doing a little bit better because they don't have that mountain start, and they did settle their second city, so I'm assuming this is going to be their time to shine, baby. This is it. I believe in you, Norway. You got this. Oh my gosh. I didn't realize that Glasgow was, I hope that's pronounced Glasgow, just completely settled right to the west of London. That is going to make Queen Victoria of Great Britain very upset. Ooh, where are you going, girl? You going for Wales? It's turn 38. Looks like we will not see our first war before turn 42. But nonetheless, I think we're still going to start off our wars by the end of this video. Ooh, man, Africa is off to a fast start too. Except for Songhai. Mali's pretty good. We've got the Vandals moving all the way over here. Again, these African civs are going to be fighting for the luxuries because there just aren't as many resources in this continent. There's lots of land, but not as many resources. Egypt with a city, too. They're rivals to the north. Another coastal city. Looks like the Suez Canal probably will not be settled. Yeah, no, this is too close to Cairo. So, no Suez, which is kind of a normal thing on this map. And it's not even that crucial because the Red Sea is only going to let you attack Mecca as of now. Hey, look at that. The Celts got up the statue of Zeus. Yeah, because there are so many civs in this game, every civ that does in fact get a wonder, you got to kind of give them a little bit more credit because there's so many civs and it's going to give them so much more power. Hey, Greece is off to a good start. Greece is off to a real good start. Who is this? Florence, Tuscany, what are you doing? It's hard for me to not just call them Florence. Tuscany, why did you settle all the way over here? Oh man, the border gore is going to be real. I'm sorry. You know what? Just maybe I should disclose. Don't let your children watch this video. I don't know if the border gore will be too much for them. Mature audiences only. Your discretion is advised. I should probably start saying that because this is going to be bad. Ooh, interesting spot, Britain, for them to settle Birmingham. Or Birmingham. I don't know. I always say that wrong, and I always get people from Great Britain or the UK telling me like, Drew, come on, we've told you this like 5,000 times. you always pronunciate it. You always enunciate it wrong, and then I say pronunciate. All right, so we've got Morocco building the Stonehenge, which that'll be extra culture for him. Finland off to a really good start too. 3 cities before turn 50 is really good. Very, very good. I'm also interested to see what happens around the Black Sea. And of course, Constantinople, because there will be access from the Black Sea to the Eastern Mediterranean, as there usually is. Again, the previous battle that we did in Europe was with teams. And teams, you know, was an exciting mechanic at first, but then we realized that the AI only kind of thinks about the other... I mean, they don't only. They consider their partners... military strength as well as their own, so it's less likely for the AIs to go to war. That's the one thing I really don't like about teams. So the previous European battle wasn't the best because we played with teams, but everything before that, like the second one before that, was really good. Queen Victoria has the most amount of golds. Again, that window, I've always said, AIs don't use gold in Civ 5, and I really hope that changes for Civ 6. That'll be exciting. First religion was founded by Mali. Interesting, especially considering that the Celts are on this map. Celts tend to do pretty well in terms of early faith generation, but yeah, not this time around. Sardinia, Piedmont grabbed their second city, kind of splitting between Iberia and modern-day France. Normandy, yeah, you know, I mean, Napoleon's going to be kind of screwed. He looks like he's going for like Brittany territory. That's really the only place he can go. Come on, Celts. There's plenty of room. Please settle. I'd love to see a strong Celtic game. And then they've got to first of all be able to embark. That's their big thing. Hey, look at Denmark. Denmark's doing. They're good in Scandinavia. I love how Scandinavia is kind of separated on this map. Really, nobody can affect this region of Europe except for one of the 3 civs. At least early on, you know, towards the later part of the game, I bet you know Germany, especially Finland, will have a big role in what happens in the Baltic Sea. Especially since Finland has grabbed all coastal cities, I think that needs to be really considered. Every time, you know, a civ that grabs a bunch of coastal cities is, you know, off to a pretty good start here in Europe that's already consolidated, using a navy, and AIs in general are just better at using a navy and attacking like that. Ooh, Ottomans have quite a big military. They don't have a second city down just yet. The Umayyad moving up north towards Armenia. And the Middle East is going to start to break out very soon, break out into war. The Babylonians, the Assyrians, who are really aggressive early, I'm assuming, yep, look at all those siege towers. It's coming. It's coming. You know it is. I don't know if it will be for Babylon, though. Assyria might decide to declare war on the Umayyad, the Armenians. It all depends on like who has the weakest military. Yeah, I don't know if you'd want to attack the Babylonians right now with their Babylonian bowmen. Actually, now that I think about it, everybody, all 3 of these civs in this region, all start off with ancient era units. So it's going to be tough either way they're all kind of older civs. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of maybe who teams up and who doesn't. Antium was settled on the boots, on the shoe part of the Italian peninsula. There's still enough room to settle Sicily, it looks like. How's Carthage doing? All right, Carthage is probably not off to the best start, I'd say. I mean, at this point, you need to start getting that third city down. The Moors also need to find a spot to settle. The Moors are also a nice counterbalance because Spain usually ends up getting the Rock of Gibraltar. So, since the Moors are here, they can grab the Rock of Gibraltar, and it forces the Spanish AI to attack the Moors. Look at Portugal. 3 cities inside of Iberia. Since Spain decided to not settle in Iberia, it's going to be a little bit harder for them to reinforce Barcelona. I wouldn't be surprised if Portugal grabs a city coastally, too. Religion was found. Morocco. So we've got 2 religions founded so far. Leeds. I don't know. How did you get there? Well, you're embarking now. Okay, so most civs are able to embark. Dublin was settled. Good. The Celts could probably fit a 3rd city on Ireland. They're really going to jam-pack in there, aren't they? We've got Iceland. Hey, look at that, Iceland. That's awesome. Iceland getting their 2nd city. And hey, they're at like 4 population, too. 6 and 4 population. That's not bad. There's our first war. The Hittites versus the Ottomans. Okay, we need to slow this down. Of course, the first conflicts did, in fact, start in the Middle East. So, now that we've gotten to our first conflicts, we won't be kind of zooming through this too fast. So we've got the Hittites versus the Ottomans. Figured that was something was going to break out there. Looks like the Ottomans should be able to handle themselves, though. Well, that was the Ottomans declaring an offensive war. So we need to keep that in mind. And then, yes, my prediction did come true. Those siege towers, man. You do not want to mess with those siege towers. Assyria went after Babylon. We'll see if the Sumers have anything to say about that. Anything diplomatic to say about that. Really excited for Greece in this game. Hey, look at Bulgaria. 3 cities, all kind of consolidated next to each other. That's a good start for them, too. Russia with 3 cities. The Huns kind of slower with their progress. Who is this? Finland. The Celts are not doing so well in terms of religion. All right, so we've got that there. Dang, that is how powerful those siege towers are. What was that, like a turn or 2? And already Akkad has fallen? And now for sure Babylon's done. Well, there you go. There you have it. Looks like we're going to have our first Civ die within the first episode of our European battle. Shouldn't be too surprising. Again, like I said, these maps just really ramp up the aggression on the AI because there's just so many ways to expand. We've got the Colossus built. And you're dead now, right? Well, you don't have... You're dead in 1 more turn. Another war. Bulgaria. This time versus Byzantium. That could be huge. If Constantinople falls this early, that'd be huge for Bulgaria to pick up. Very unlikely, though, because Constantinople is going to be tough to take without any sort of navy. And bam. Babylon, just like that, wiped out in the first video. There's probably so much. I bet you there's like a handful of people that are like, oh god dang it, like so upset that commented too early. Anyways, guys, I'm gonna stop right there. Let me know in the comment section down below who you guys think will win. And like I said, I will put your name in the description at the last video of the series. And one final note that I wanted to mention is I do think this game is going to run a lot better than the previous battles that we've done with 60+ civs because, first of all, the map is much smaller, and second of all, I'm not starting off with 60 civs. I think I'm starting off with now 53 since Babylon was destroyed, and I think a lot more nations are going to be probably dead by the end of the series, to be honest. But anyways, guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.